If I don't like one thing, it is now a problem, and I never understood that. It makes no sense. I am not gonna sit here and not give my opinion in fear of somebody feeling a way.
YB's been pressing PlaqueBoy Max non-stop for the past few weeks, and bruh finally got caught lacking. The Louisiana native absolutely spazzed on the content creator, straight violated dude, and was making all types of wild threats. Max really believed he could talk about YB's tracks and not get checked for it. Homie thought he could drop his 2 cents on NBA YoungBoy's music and slide without catching heat. He's finding out the hard way that disrespecting YB's reputation out here comes with real smoke. Max was low-key one of YB's biggest dick riders in the streaming world, always showing mad support and running his music non-stop for his followers. A single real opinion about YB's latest release completely destroyed their connection. This goes way past regular internet nonsense. YB's squad has been issuing legit warnings. Since they're both locked in for Rolling Loud on the exact same date, things might escalate to some genuinely wild situations. Figuring out how a regular music critique turned into possible beef requires rewinding to when things first started going south. Time to dive into how this entire mess got started. Max stood out as one of NBA YoungBoy's most loyal fans in the creator space. Homie was constantly running YB tracks, checking every project that dropped and displaying nothing but respect for the 4KT movement. Max even mentioned he'd been bumping YB since he was in middle school. That's authentic long-time dedication right there. Here's where it gets tricky with creating content though. Streamers gotta stay authentic with their followers, and that means dropping real opinions even when it might start problems. Max built his entire platform around being genuine. He's not somebody who fakes excitement just to maintain relationships with rappers. YB though, he's consistently shown he won't tolerate any type of criticism, whether it's reasonable or just his perspective. The Baton Rouge artist has built a name for confronting literally anyone who speaks negatively about his output. From academics to multiple music industry figures, YB approaches criticism with extreme sensitivity about his craft. For him, not vibing with his records equals personal hatred. This is important because it sets up a dangerous situation. You've got Max, whose entire career depends on honest takes, and YB, who views any negative feedback as war. A clash was bound to happen. Their bond started fracturing in July 2025 after YB released his album. Max was running his typical reaction stream when things fell apart. Rather than his usual hyped-up energy, Max delivered brutal honesty. He openly admitted he wasn't gonna finish playing the album because it wasn't connecting, just being totally upfront about his feelings. Max attempted to ease the impact by recognizing YB's abilities and celebrating him as a talented musician. But the statement was already made. He called the record repetitive and said it wasn't resonating with him. For your average rapper, this wouldn't be major since you can't win over everyone. However, YB's team was definitely paying attention, and they remembered that moment. Sources close to the drama said that YB's inner circle wasn't feeling how Max approached that album review. They took it as straight disrespect, especially considering all the previous love and promotion Max had delivered. Initially though, nothing crazy happened from it, just some quiet tension developing in the background. Cut to recently, when NBA YoungBoy put out his latest track. Max was back streaming reactions. When that song started playing, he maintained his usual style, authentic and direct. He didn't sugarcoat nothing, admitting the track wasn't vibing with him and being totally real. He gave YB credit for staying consistent, but this specific record just wasn't landing for him. The situation got heated when Max's reaction exploded online. Videos on TikTok began circulating, showing him talking down on the release. Internet worked as usual magic though. People editing the clips removed every single instance where Max complimented and showed appreciation, leaving only his critical statements. These chopped up versions painted Max as purely antagonistic toward YB, when the truth was he was just sharing his genuine perspective like he always does. Things ramped up after Montana, who's essentially YB's father figure and part of his tight crew, stumbled on these videos and felt personally attacked. Montana jumped on IG talking reckless. He labeled him a hater and implied Max would dodge them if he spotted him out here. Montana instructed him to just confess he doesn't support them and go hype other rappers' music instead. He announced they don't mess with any streamers, calling the whole group clowns. Montana was moving like he had authority, behaving as if content creators relied on NBA YoungBoy more than it being mutual. That's typical goon mentality, talking aggressive because of their connection to the real star. Montana's hostile energy made it crystal clear that YB's crew was genuinely bothered about Max's takes. The day everything exploded, Max was running his regular stream when his chat suddenly lost it, alerting him to peep NBA YoungBoy's Twitter. What Max discovered probably made him freeze up. YB had posted directly calling him out, disrespecting him and questioning his integrity. He said Max could have reacted and mentioned he wasn't feeling the track, but instead acted shady. YB violated his manhood, instructed him to stay silent on this situation, warned him against responding, and expressed complete lack of care for him while demanding no comeback. Breaking this down, this wasn't some playful shot. NBA YoungBoy was outright insulting Max, attacking his masculinity and commanding him to keep quiet. That's deeply disrespectful energy, especially aimed at someone who'd been supporting him for years. Max's live reaction revealed he was legitimately terrified. His expression while reading that tweet told the whole story. Max was questioning what he'd done to deserve this, emphasizing he'd literally been showing support. He couldn't grasp why this was unfolding or what actions warranted such treatment. That reaction demonstrated Max was genuinely panicking. No debate about it. Rather than matching YB's aggression or holding firm on his perspective, he immediately shifted into explanation mode. He began justifying himself, attempting to highlight years of promotional backing he'd provided. That's not how someone secure in their stance behaves. That's someone concerned about actual danger. Max's chat was absolutely losing it throughout this entire situation. Certain viewers pushed him to stay strong, while others cautioned him about YB's documented history. Messages were pouring in advising him not to mess with YB and highlighting his street credibility, suggesting Max didn't want those problems. The anxiety was tangible because Max understands YB's background. This isn't just some rapper who posts tough content online. YB has a documented history of acting on his words. Max was probably considering all the reports he'd encountered regarding what happens to people who cross the 4KT squad. But the drama didn't stop there. Max attempted reaching out to Montana privately, shooting DMs trying to fix everything. He texted saying he supports them heavily, and NBA YoungBoy, stressing it's all positive vibes. He clarified that streaming involves sharing perspectives and nothing deeper, sending well wishes. Predictably, Montana ghosted him completely. That's the point. Max understood this went beyond a simple communication breakdown. The aftermath following YB's tweet was quick and brutal. Max's notifications got absolutely destroyed, with YB fans sending threats and dropping insults. Some responses weren't typical stan behavior. Individuals were making serious threats about what would transpire if Max continued, talking down on their favorite artists. Academics, who's connected with both camps, eventually hit Max during his stream, attempting to mediate things. Throughout that conversation, Ak essentially warned Max to move carefully, because NBA YoungBoy doesn't simply forget about situations. He mentioned that YB wouldn't start beef over someone not liking a track, theorizing YB might perceive Max as operating shady or disrespectful in ways he doesn't comprehend.
I know YB, and I say that to you to say he's not a nigga to go beef with you and have a problem because you ain't like a song. So maybe think you're sneak this. I don't know.
That discussion uncovered something significant. Even NBA YoungBoy's inner circle couldn't fully comprehend why he was targeting Max so intensely. Academics suspected YB's team might have been feeding him chopped up clips that made Max appear far more disrespectful. Social media functions like that. They probably witnessed only the critical segments, completely overlooking Max's supportive statements. The genuinely frightening aspect, academics noted both were scheduled at Rolling Loud the same day. They'd be occupying location while all this hostility was active. AK was legitimately concerned about what could go down, emphasizing they needed to resolve this before Rolling Loud, since they'd be present simultaneously. At the same time, YB's fan base across every platform treated this like permission to attack Max in any way possible. Serious threats flooded in continuously. People began exposing Max's personal details, with certain fans discussing actually approaching him at performances. Max tried maintaining his composure initially, though his nervousness was undeniable. He continuously stressed to viewers he'd never personally disrespected YB, simply expressed genuine musical perspectives. In YB's reality, though, that difference doesn't matter. Critiquing his music equals opposing him entirely. The situation became more complicated when other content creators began taking positions. Some streamers supported Max's ability to critique genuinely. Others argued he should simply apologize to end the conflict. This division revealed YB's incredible influence over the streaming landscape. Creators were hesitant to completely support Max, concerned they'd become YB's next victim. Max was trapped at this stage. Issuing an apology would label him as soft and damage everything he'd constructed on being real. Maintaining his stance risked agitating someone infamous for never surrendering. This disaster exposed deeper conflicts between rappers and content creators. How YB operated on Max demonstrates certain artists' perspectives toward influencers. They desire the publicity and excitement, yet demand absolute authority over what's expressed. Max's experience became a clear warning for the streaming world. After witnessing his situation, numerous creators began filtering themselves when addressing specific rappers. That's direct censorship through fear, fundamentally altering how genuine criticism operates online. Here's the insane aspect. YB's battled with content personalities. Previously, he's had conflicts with academics periodically and various media figures who didn't celebrate his music sufficiently. There's an obvious pattern of YB refusing to accept criticism in any capacity, even from dedicated supporters offering thoughtful feedback. What's genuinely concerning is how YB's fanbase interprets his public callouts like attack order. His public confrontations signal his followers to harass, threaten, and potentially physically endanger targets. That power level becomes hazardous, particularly when directed against legitimate criticism. For Max specifically, this fundamentally transformed how he handles reviewing particular musicians. He'll certainly reconsider before genuinely critiquing YB's releases again, which essentially means YB successfully intimidated a major advocate into submission. Rolling Loud introduced legitimate danger to an already volatile scenario. Both attending the identical festival with all these threats and pressure circulated, created a potentially catastrophic environment. Security required maximum attention, and Max likely couldn't relax, constantly conscious that YB's crew was somewhere around. This conflict revealed hip-hop's concerning power structures. YB, who's still relatively young, has cultivated sufficient fear that established, prosperous adults won't oppose him. That poisonous dynamic damages the culture and eliminates honest artistic conversation. Taking the broader view, this exemplifies everything broken about contemporary artists processing criticism online. Rather than accepting honest reactions and progressing forward, YB transformed a basic music evaluation into a campaign threatening someone's well-being. Currently, Max still produces content consistently, though this obviously affected him. He's noticeably more strategic with his analysis, particularly regarding specific musicians. YB controlled the storyline, but genuine content suffered. YB standing from this is mixed. He demonstrated to fans he'll confront any perceived offense intensely. Simultaneously, he revealed he'll exploit his enormous platform to threaten individuals simply performing their creative work authentically. The actual takeaway involves responsibility with massive platforms and dedicated fan bases. Controlling millions of committed followers means your statements can genuinely jeopardize others. YB weaponized that influence to eliminate criticism rather than addressing it like a grown person. This entire debacle was completely avoidable had YB simply ignored Max's opinion or contacted him privately. Creating it a public display and personal assault escalated matters unnecessarily. That's juvenile conduct from someone positioned as a cultural figure. Final word. Max discovered honest musical perspectives carry legitimate dangers in today's rap environment. YB demonstrated he'll employ intimidation strategies to monitor how individuals discuss his work. That's not an accomplishment, yet that's how certain artists function when their pride gets wounded. The culture genuinely sacrificed something important here. Authentic conversation that gives criticism significance absorbed a major blow. Creators fearing honest reactions because of potential threats damages everyone. Rappers miss real input. Audiences miss genuine content. This entire YB versus Max situation captures modern hip-hop's poisonous handling of criticism. Transforming honest input into hazardous personal conflicts isn't power. It's weak bullying packaged as something different. Straight up, this pointless drama displayed hip-hop culture's most negative qualities while revealing how intimidation shapes online conversations. Max got targeted not for genuine wrongdoing, but for voicing authentic perspectives in a space increasingly aggressive toward anything besides complete praise rather than legitimate critique.